this meeting to order. In order to honor America, let's stand for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you lead us in the invitation?
Have with us by again prayer, please. Our Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for another wonderful day. You told us if you left, you would go and prepare a place for us. Lord, we want to thank you for preparing that place. We want to thank you for the condolences that you put in the hearts of loved ones that's moved on, family members, in the wisdom that you have prepared a place. Lord, we ask that you'll watch over this meeting tonight. We ask that you'll give this council the wisdom and the courage to make the decisions that are not only in the best interest of the town, Lord, but also in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. We ask that you will humble us in your presence. We ask for mercy. We ask that you will bless this meeting. In your name we pray. Amen.
Before we get our special presentations, I want to thank the Veterans Day Parade Committee for a job well done, and the town workers for a job well done. This is the 7th year we've had the Veterans Day Parade, and it seems like God blessed us each day for blue sky, pretty weather, and a great fellowship in honoring our veterans. This year we honored 4 veterans that was in World War II. And Laura, you want to give a quick report? Or?
No, you don't.
All right. And also, we would like to remember Edith Jackson, who passed away. And her funeral was that day at Veterans Day at 2 o'clock when the parade started. And she was very instrumental in helping with, actually, the first ones to help with the parade. And also she was on the planning commission. Our hearts and blessings on her family. Let's just continue to remember that. Also, I'll be remiss to congratulate Terry and Chris and Michael for winning the elections, and also Emily. Congratulations. With that, we'll move on. Special presentation for thank you, Coach Tom King.
You're not getting out.
He's smart.
We tried to bring more, but we've got other students, athletes in other sports, so we brought what we could. So they wanted just to tell you a few things.
We'd like to thank you for supporting us and letting us use Lincolnshire Park for the Tazewell High School Cross Country Club. We really thank you for letting us practice every day and have a regional meet and our own invitational meet there. Thank you very much.
We thank y'all for participating.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot of people probably don't know, but we started cross country here in Tazewell in '92. And of course, I got transferred to Richlands, didn't get coaching, but that was all right at the time. Came back in '93, and actually our first meet was at Lincolnshire. And so it's really changed, and we do appreciate everything that you've done for us. And we hope to be able to continue to work with you very much. And we appreciate everything you did. Thank you.
That the 3.5 mile or whatever you run is the most beautiful course in the state of Michigan.
It is, by far. It's a lot prettier in Hart Farm, which is tougher. We have a few main attractions on Hart Farm, and I won't mention those, but a few obstacles on the ground. But we really enjoyed it, and we had a lot of nice comments about running there, and the invitational meet. We had 8 teams. I really think that that'll double next year, so we hope to do that again. District, we probably won't, it passes along, but that's not to say that we might not be able to host the region there next year. So, because it'll be the Southwest District turn. But it's beautiful, and I ought to be very, very proud of it. And I know the people that came in was very, very proud, very thoughtful of it. So, but we do appreciate every one of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
At this time, Scott.
Yeah, I want to introduce you, gentlemen, to a project we've been working on for some time now, but I really want to introduce the entrepreneur, Mr. Greg Walker, and his wife is here this evening to speak with y'all about the future hotel to be located on Main Street. Needless to say, the complications of engineering, and if a local government sets a time frame, you can always multiply it times 1.5. Now, I've been doing it for 23 years, so I know what I'm talking about. But
Getting close to 30 years.
yeah, but we do our best to try to stay on target. But the political field, the old saying, do turn slow. So there's a lot of hoops to this project, being that we have the parking deck and we have to meet procurement, but we can't do that until Greg does the design work on the hotel and the parking deck, and not in order for us to do the procurement on building the parking deck. So it's a very complicated project. It's a project that I believe will end up being a heartbeat not only across Tazewell, but it'll set another standard across the Commonwealth and potentially the United States on how local government operates with a public-private partnership concept. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity that we've got. We've been 3 years talking about this project. We've had some hurdles along the way, and I feel really confident that we're working together to accomplish a common goal. But with that being said, I'd like to introduce you to Greg Mulkey and his wife.
Well, I mean, just some quick updates, guys. We had drillers out there on the 28th, and they did the core drilling, so we can exactly see what we've got out there. I talked to the engineer today. It's probably looking about between 6 and 8 more weeks before we get that back. The picture that you see on the hotel there is exactly it's pretty much what you're going to get. There will be one less floor. But that's the shape and the look of the hotel that you're going to get. It is a branded hotel. Still working. I have one brand committed. I have another brand that I'm trying to get committed, but so I won't release the brand name at this time. In that package, you'll see your preliminary site plan. The parking garage will actually be a stair-step design. As it comes down the hill, that'll protect the hill and the integrity of Main Street a little better. And then the parking, of course, the hotel sit on top. I'm hoping that once we get the geotechnical report, then we'll be able to go back on into full-fledged design on the parking garage. Todd's kind of pushing me on that, but yeah, the one thing that Tanya and I, since we took this project, the one thing that we want to make sure of is everybody's kept in the know of everything that goes on. We want communication with all of you guys, with the folks sitting at the table here. That way you know where we're at and what that schedule is going to look like. So, any questions, comments? I mean, there's not much of an update. All we've done is the drilling so far. We have started.
And we'll be getting together. Greg will be coming back about every couple of months to give the IDA and council, and obviously they'll perform updates on the projects. And he actually called me over the last couple of days, and we had discussions on some issues that we need to address together. So, like I said, I feel very confident, feel very secure working with Greg, and look forward to in the next couple of years having a full-blown hotel on Main Street.
Do you have an end date in mind when it will be completed?
Honestly, Chris, I don't, because of the fact that I don't know what the geotech is going to do. It's going to be the difference in spread footing, the caissons, and the whole design process there. So I'm shooting for the dates that were in the contract, but I don't
you get the report.
Until I get that report, I can't nail it down if you did, so.
We sure appreciate it.
And you actually did what, 9 holes?
Did 9 borings, took the ones at the top, we took them all down to bedrock. We had 2 bad holes that I know of, and of course, one of them I kind of expected. It's behind the old house seat, there next to Tom's.
What is this? What is it bad?
It's got a lot of fill, a lot of garbage in it, as far as rocks and things of that nature, so you have to dig all of that out before you can. But we hit bedrock at 55 feet at the top, so it's not going to be a terrible project. We're at 4 feet at the bottom, so I was real happy about that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Anybody want to, okay. Do you want the media to have a picture of the claims trade or not?
Pardon me?
The media to have it, or wait?
I would rather wait
Okay,
until I've actually signed the agreement with the bank.
okay.
And then that way, we're not telling people that we're doing something that we're not.
We won't advertise it, but it is public information.
Okay, next on agenda is recap the events, Pam Mead, Claudine, Ed.
Good evening.
Good evening.
On behalf of the Tazewell Area Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to thank the mayor, council, and town manager Todd Day for your continued support of Oktoberfest. I would also like to thank Chief Dave Mills and his officers for their help the evening of the event. And a special thank you and a shout out to Gary Schrader and Public Works crew for the tireless hours and going beyond what was expected of them. We are truly blessed in this town with some fantastic workers. And I'm telling you, I could repeat that statement on and on. The guys that night of the event, I mean, they were doing things before we had to ask. They could see ahead of it. They knew what we needed when we needed it. It was just wonderful. So they're just phenomenal. The 2018 Oktoberfest was a huge success once again. We have had nothing but positive feedback from many that were in attendance. Once again, we had people that traveled long distances to attend the event. Some friends of mine that live here in Tazewell actually had family that came in from New York. They planned their visit around this Oktoberfest to maybe just have something to do while they were here. Makes sense. I followed up with them afterwards and asked what their New York relatives thought about our Oktoberfest. They said they had a blast, the town is beautiful, and they can't wait to come back again. We also continue to have THS graduates plan their reunions to coincide with the event. That's going to continue. I think that's going to get bigger. It was suggested that perhaps Tazewell could schedule a home football game on the Friday night prior to Oktoberfest. If it's always a home game, I mean, what a great weekend, you know, to have a reunion. Go to a football game, have the Oktoberfest on Saturday, pretty much your whole weekend's planned for you. So we're hoping that that's something that will happen. A couple of the craft beer vendors that were here, one gentleman from Richmond, another one from Charlottesville, they just could not get over the town. They couldn't get over the event itself, how well organized it was. But the one guy from Richmond said, I'm going to make plans to come back here when I can spend a couple of days and check out this place. He said the landscape is just beautiful. So, you know, it's that kind of feedback that we get from folks who are coming in here for the first time and they are just blown away by what they're seeing. Our shuttle services this year, let me just say something about that. Chris Family Coach offered free shuttle services from all the area hotels, Bluefield, Claypool Hill. And not only were people there from the hotel who was coming to the event use that, but people that lived in Princeton, Bluefield, Richlands were parking their cars there and using the shuttle to come in. So, and of course we still provided the taxi service. So everything is done in such a, and I mean, we just try to cover all of our bases when it comes to the driving. Our volunteers, we appreciate all the volunteers. We can't put on the event without them, and we're always in need of more each year. Oktoberfest is now experiencing some growing pains. Our footprint is getting bigger. We continue to improve on our music by having larger bands and more known bands. Therefore, we feel that we have outgrown Altizer Stage. But we're looking to maybe rent a larger portable type stage for next year's event. So we'll talk about that as we start our planning here in just about 2 months. I know it takes a lot of planning, but the 2019 Oktoberfest will be Saturday, October 5th. So thank you all again for your support.
Thank you for the job y'all done in organizing.
Thank you. If I may say one thing about the Brewfest, Beth did a fantastic job. But the goal when we started Brewfest was to bring younger people to town, and we have very much accomplished that goal, and we will continue to do that. I would just like to emphasize that it would be great if we could do more events that could bring young folks to town, younger couples, younger families to our town. And so we look forward to working toward that goal as we move forward.
Okay, Beth covered the Oktoberfest, but we had other events in town and in the area also during the month of October, and I just want to touch base on a few of those. Of course, we had the haunted house at the fairground, and it was called the Barn of Terror. If you went by, you noticed the entire barn was wrapped in black plastic. And we had approximately 700 visitors that came through the haunted house the 3 weeks that it was open. And I had the opportunity to lead the victims into the entrance of the haunted house, so I got to chat with everybody. And just asking where they were from and how they heard about us. And we had visitors from a lot from Princeton, the Bluefield area, from Hurley, from Grundy, Richlands, and Marion. And of course, I was able to talk to them and recommend some of our restaurants and things to do while they were here in the evening. We also had a partnership with the Corn Maze during that time. So if anyone visited the Corn Maze, they received a $2 discount into the haunted house and vice versa. And we had a group from Virginia Tech that had rented a cabin and went to the Corn Maze. And then they heard about the haunted house, so they came over to the haunted house as well. So we also attracted some people from the Blacksburg area. So we had visitors from all over that were here. They had visited the restaurant. So, we only didn't have the chance to scare people, but also got the people that brought their business into our area through that. Of course, you all know we had our candidate forum at Richlands and Tazewell, and we probably had around 40 people or so attending each of the events. Richlands actually televised theirs on the community channel, and of course we had ours here in Tazewell televised on the town site. Trunk or treat, we probably had, of course it's hard to count, there were a lot of children there, a lot of adults, but we had at least 1,500, maybe even close to 2,000 people that attended our trunk or treat this year. It was a really good, successful event. And as Beth said, we had a lot of people that were having reunions and that kind of thing that attended Oktoberfest. So we knew that happened last year, so that kind of initiated our Fall Home to Tazewell event. And as we were working on that project, we received a grant from Virginia Tourism in order to market the event. So all the events that we were just talking about, that was part of the Fall Home Tazewell event, but we were also able to market the other events, such as the Burke's Garden Festival, the Monster Truck Bash, the Community Dinner, the Veterans Day Parade, Biking in Burke's Garden, and Small Business Saturday. So we were all, we were able through this whole initiative to market the other events going on September, October, November in the area. And I just want to add, someone that did not live in Tazewell asked me, does your town help you with these events. I said, you know what, if it wasn't for our town, these events would not be happening. You know, we just really can't say enough about our public works and our council and Todd and everyone involved with these events. And I just want to say we really appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Right, we'll move on. Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the council meeting October 9th?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the approval of the financial statements and financial report for October 2018. So moved. Second.
Second.
Any additions or corrections? Questions? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the town manager's update on ongoing projects.
Mayor, I don't have any of this.
Okay. Committee conference updates. Planning Commission, Councilman Murray.
We met last week. We discussed a house to be demolished that has been burned. We've discussed some zoning changes and discussions. And we talked about a lot of the zoning changes, and then we've submitted to the town council for approval of the changes that we're making. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Jay. Terry, on the train station.
Well, the train station committee has not met recently, but the work has certainly continued, and much of the interior restoration is complete at the station. We're in the process of developing the exhibits now, and we are open to artifact donations. If anyone has anything they want to consider to donate to the town for the train station about the history of town or the history of the Clinch Valley line, that would be a perfect location for those exhibits to go. And we're also quite excited that we're going to have a mural addition to the train station. The mural is going to look at the history of Tazewell through the eyes of Louise Leslie, and I can't think of a better theme for a mural there. And I think the local is stepping up and going to support us on that. I don't know if Todd Ridge announced that yet. We're excited that that's going to happen along with the other developments at the train station.
I'd like to add to that, Mayor, if I could.
Okay.
I think we owe Dr. Mullins a hand for his participation in applying to the Rattler Foundation. And I received word last week because of Dr. Mullins' history that he put together that we did receive a grant from the Rattler Foundation of $15,000. So thank you, Dr.
Very good, Terry.
Thank you.
All right, next is the unfinished business update on the golf carts for the handicapped fishermen.
Okay, you've got in your packet, if you'll recall, council did want to proceed with trying to make this a reality. Frank, you have anything you want to add to it?
Just to tell you, with the waiver that I prepared at your all's request, it's fairly straightforward. It's tailored specifically for this particular type of activity. And when I say tailored, in the way that I've got a few references to a transport service, that's basically what it is. I will comment on in terms of the legality of it. I think that the waiver is going to be as strong as you can get it. It's not going to be something that's going to prevent someone from making a claim to the town. If in fact something happens, that's basically a deterrent in terms of actually being sued in litigation and having a defense to raise. That's not going to stop someone from saying, well, I've signed something, I'm not going to try to make a claim if something does happen. With this type of activity and the distances that are involved, I know that BML, I think Todd had commented that they had no prior policies in restricting something like this, but it is something from a legal standpoint, I've definitely got some concerns about it, but that is your all's, the legality of it is there, the propriety of it is your all's.
decision to make.
I'll be more than happy to read this, or Brad Pike can read it. I'm sure each one of you went over it. It's just a typical waiver or release. It's a page long. I'll proceed ever how you'd like, Mayor.
I
think we need to read it.
mean, it's not an ordinance.
No, it's not an
It's not an
ordinance.
ordinance.
And it's something that will or won't help, so it doesn't matter really what it says.
Well, at least you'll know
It
what,
matters, I disagree,
Well,
I definitely think it matters, because it does
Well,
provide a level and layer of protection for the town that you're going to need.
I just want to get it on record that it was read, and
Okay,
I'll proceed forward
okay,
if you'd like.
yeah, that'd be fine.
Forward in consideration of the benefit and convenience of accessibility in the park amenities experienced and received by the undersigned, the receipt and sufficiently whereas is hereby acknowledged that the undersigned hereby waives, releases, and forever discharges the town of Tazewell, the council, administration personnel, and its employees against any successors or assignees from any and all acts, actions, claims, causes of actions deemed or liability of whatever nature or kind, whether known or unknown, including claims for actual, consequential, and punitive damage for death, personal injury, or property damage, what I may have, or which may, however, occur to me as a result of my use of Lincolnshire Park Patron Transport Assistance Vehicle. It's not going to be a vehicle, though, it's going to be a little, but anyway, to access Lincolnshire Lake or any other amenity of the town-owned property. This release is intended to discharge and advance the town of Tazewell, its council, and administrative personnel, and its employees against and successors and assignees from the assigned any and all liabilities arising out of or in any way connected with my use of said patron transport assistance, even through liability may arise out or from the negligence or carelessness on the part of the persons or entities mentioned above, particularly on accounts of all injuries known and unknown, both to persons and property which have resulted or may in future development from the undersigned patrons in the use of Lincolnshire Park Transport Assistance Program. It is further understood and agreed that I have read and understood this waiver and release, and further understand that the waiver and release is to be binded on my hearing and assignee's signature and date. Keep in mind, a handicap verification will also fall into place with that. But we will enact this program as soon as council votes and says proceed with the.
Brad, in your professional opinion, is this something you would advise us to proceed forward with, or no?
You want my opinion?
Yes, sir. Please.
I think you're potentially opening yourself up for some possible problems you just can't control. What the scenario I envision is you have someone that you pick up, you take to the end of the lake, and you have a weather front to come in, and something happened, and you can't get to it. If you get a thunderburst, if cloudburst comes in, and they then try to get back, and they throw the blame back on, you guys brought me out here, you're supposed to come and get me. And something like that to happen, and regardless of no fault of the town, you couldn't control the weather or anything else, but they're still gonna be upset something happened, and then they turn around and try to put a black eye back on the town. I just think for PR purposes, the amount of capital you're gonna invest in terms of your public image going out there trying to assist the few people that are gonna utilize this service, I just think it's, the ends and the means just don't really fit, I don't think.
For me, I think it's a little common sense in reference to a cloud burst, or I think the people at the park should know to be out there when something like this is going to come across that will take them back. But I'm all for the senior citizens in reference to the fishing part, and I'm going to vote for this to go with it. And it's up to the council what they want to do, but I'm supporting the senior citizens.
So is this for senior citizens or is this for handicapped?
Handicaps.
Anybody
Handicaps.
My understanding for what you're gonna do with this, they're gonna have to have some type of proof that their decal handicap sticker on the car.
to make them eligible to be using this. This waiver has nothing to do with that.
Right.
In terms of service, this waiver is simply to prevent, basically saying they're releasing you from the council, the town from any liability for something that does happen. They're out there and they get in the mud, the cart tips over, they get rolled on.
What if something
They fall
happens-
out, they fall out.
What if something
They can't
happens
come back.
not related to that? You drop them off, it's not whether they have a health event. Is there more liability there because we took them there or not? You drop somebody off, you leave them, and they have a heart attack. Do we have liability because we dropped them off and left them, more so than we would if we didn't do that?
This release tries to cover any acts or cause of action as a result of their using or being benefited of this service. Will it stop them definitively? No, it won't. It won't. It won't stop that. If you have a defense to raise as a council through your insurance carrier, say, look, they signed this release, they knew that this would be a possibility, or that they were waiving any claim they had for any cause of action against the town of Tazewell.
That's the same thing, like, if anybody walks out there and fishes, that's 25, 30.
You're right.
They have the same thing, a file suit. All right?
You are, you're 100% correct there. You are.
I don't see anything wrong with it. I know that there's going to be a lot of chances of problems, but I don't see anything wrong with trying to help the people that are handicapped that would like to fish and camp. But if we use the policy, not because they have a placard on their window, but everybody that has a placard on the window has a card, which I have one in my pocket, that says they are handicapped. And if they have that card, then I think that you would be all right. But anybody can drive in there with a handicapped placard on the car, as you see in the grocery stores and every place else. They're not handicapped, but someone in the family is.
So what we'll do is if the council is following that correctly and wants to proceed forward, and we will request, this language will be added to a document, by the way, that says handicap.
Claim then you had errors and what days. And,
Sure.
And,
It'll just be added to it. This is not the actual, but
I'd like to make a motion that we do go forward with it.
I'll second that motion.
and we got a motion to go forward with the waiver or everything else.
With everything else.
With everything else goes
With the program.
Yes, but you do not have to have a motion to go forward with the waiver document.
Right.
That's strictly
With the program.
something that you asked to be prepared. There was a compliment to the program that you're possibly
We got a
doing.
motion and second. Do you have any other discussion on it? You're not call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, next on the agenda is the offenses policy, second reading.
Last month, of course, we presented for the first reading the new addition to Chapter 8, offenses miscellaneous. If you'd like, I can read it again.
Can we
Make a motion to waive it.
Can we waive it?
You can.
Yeah, I make a motion that we waive it.
Second.
Second to the vote, the recorded vote, please.
Okay. Any other discussion on that? David, yes or no?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
One yes and all
Okay.
yeas.
All right, now we'll vote on the policy. Do I hear a motion to adopt the offenses policy?
So moved.
It's an offenses ordinance.
Ordinance.
It's an ordinance.
Okay.
I heard so.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay. A motion and second, any other discussion? Call for a vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Move on. The new business, approval of agreement for the EMS.
again, you got your council packet, last meeting it was tabled. I think Councilman Murray requested that it be tabled until our EMS administrator could be available to maybe answer some questions you had. This is again $1,000 annually more than what we had last year. And it's negotiable annually also.
But we have taken on more territory. Dave, I'm gonna say the way I feel, and then, because this will be my last last meeting. We have a lot of people that are riding business.
Hold on a second. Oh, here, hold on, I can't hear. Thank you.
We have a lot of people who use our EMS that have no insurance. And if I'm not wrong, it can average out to about 150 to 200,000 in a year's time. The last time I talked with you, I think you had one payment in a year from the people who do not have insurance, but we still have to carry it. Now, I don't know how many of them live in town, and I don't know how many of them live out of town. But I think we should continue to go with it. But I won't be on the council, so I would like to make a motion that someone keep a very close eye on what's going on so that we don't get in the hole on this thing.
I think we're in agreement that $21,000 does not come close to cover the amount of loss that this town takes, so the taxpayers take on trips outside of the town. That quite honestly, I believe the county should be reimbursing us for. And I believe that's what you're asking us to keep an eye on.
Well, yes, and the fact that if you look at these things, it's the same people over and over and over, and we have no choice but to pick them up. But if you stop and think about it, the county of Tazewell pays it all for Bluefield. They pay it all for Richlands. And the town has no liabilities whatsoever. But because Tazewell has the emergency rescue squad, we have the liability. And I'm sure they're not getting by with $21,000 for Bluefield or Richlands.
If you're asking me a question, you're looking,
Well, I'm looking at you, because I know how much you like the EMS program.
well, it does come down to, and a lot of it is a political perception, a lot of it's an ethical perception, and a lot of it's a perception of how you want to proceed with the program. So, Richlands is just like the town of Tazewell. They own and operate their own rescue service. Now, Bluefield does not. 945 is a different branch.
Oh, I thought they took over Richlands too.
No, they
Richlands is still running it, but I can tell you that every rescue squad across the county, across the United States, is typically revenue negative. And that's the reason that we aggressively pursued the idea of transports, which we've got some good information. Y'all saw that via email coming up. So, Jack, you're exactly right. There's no putting lipstick on it. We do run in the red when it comes to our returns in the county and in the town.
Do you have any idea what the county gives Richlands to make up their difference?
I knew it at one time, and I can report back to Canada, but
I just didn't know, I mean, are they covering as much of the county as we are?
they cover more than we do.
cover a lot more.
All right, but you don't know what their reimbursement from the county?
I can find out.
I think theirs is incorporated with their fire department. It's because their EMS is and fire department are one and the same. And it's like $50,000. But that's for them to cover fire and EMS.
But at the same time, they had their own EMS in Tazewell. And they closed it, gave the vehicles to the other towns, did not give Tazewell anything, and made no allowance for Tazewell because Tazewell would be picking up what the county Tazewell EMS was doing. And that hasn't set right since they did that. Now, I think we need to give her a chance to talk about her risk explained so that we know her feelings and let her tell you what she expects of the transport and stuff.
They come up or just.
Jim just said right there.
Just sit right there.
Our transport business is really picking up. We started doing some local transfers from nursing homes, and then while we were at local nursing homes, we picked up 2 dialysis patients. One dialysis patient, revenue for a year is about $100,000, and we picked up 2 within 1 week. So, plus they're giving us a lot. They fired one of their local transport services that Heritage Hall used, and they picked us up to take all their doctor's appointments and anything local in town. I'm just learning this billing, but most of the ones that come from the skilled nursing homes pay 100%, so it's whatever we bill, they pay. So I'm really excited that this is expanding and growing with the transport service and
Are they going to move those to dialysis or Princeton or?
to Bluefield. It's who we have, both go to Bluefield.
How long does it take usually
It's usually about an hour and a half up and an hour and a half back.
for us? Okay.
I also have a friend who works in the dialysis center up there. I'm gonna get her to give me a so maybe we can pick them up.
Well, right now, we only have the one truck, so we're kind of overloaded now, just appointments in between. So.
Still, if we can get more to pick up on a different day.
I just need council to vote, and I would request that you approve it, and we will look at it again whenever necessary, but it is on an annual.
The 21,000, you mean?
Yes. It's just a contract. Eric is an attorney, he's your acting county administrator, he's also an attorney, so he's drafted up an agreement that we can operate under that will allow the county to transfer money to the town of Tazewell without getting them a whole lot of audit complications. So,
It commences on July 1.
Yeah, it's already started.
No, 2019. Okay, do I have a motion?
We're already on the 20,500 of July.
Right.
This year. Well, the date on the very first sentence is 2018,
Agenda on this date.
2018.
Yeah.
We're agreeing to next year's
That's
contract.
Next year's contract. And on section 2, the agreement shall be 1-year annual term commencing on July 1, 2019 and terminate on July 30th, 2020.
I just hope people will talk to their county board of supervisors and understand that your tax dollars are being used to take care of the county people. And I love what you're doing and that we're all setting it, but it still comes down to the tax dollars that are allocated to serve. And no department in this, you don't have departments designed to make money. That's not what we're here for. We're here to serve. But the money that we're collecting, it's your money, we're going to be using for people that live outside our community. And 20,000, I'm sure, I don't know what the number is, I would love to know what the actual audited number is. I'm sure it's nowhere near $20,000 that we will, beyond what we will lose.
it was approximately 50% of half the loss, so it was a $100,000 annual loss.
So $80,000 that we collect from the town of Tazewell is going to service people in the county.
Well, it was $100,000, half of it. We ran about 50-50 was the call volume. 50% in the county, 50% in the town, so $100,000 puts $50,000 loss in the county. Well, they're giving us half of it.
Okay. Last month on the report, 46% of them were county calls, and there was 86 and 99 in town. And the billing report, there was only 4 that had self-pay. The rest of them were private insurance, Medicare, or Medicaid. So that's a little bit better.
Another thing that we're doing now, Cindy and I, and Brad also spoke last week, but another thing we're doing is we are maximizing our abilities per state code to capitalize on bills. So we're going an extra step. We are not going to take a aggressive legal route for those who cannot pay. But we are going to do all we can do to recover. So our method of billing, we have tweaked significantly and just become a little more assertive maybe. I don't know if aggressive is the right word, we're gonna attempt to capitalize. And I know that Josh Cancel voted about a year and a half ago, and we're gonna tighten up all of our billing programs. And, fire was another one we talked about. So we're gonna try to improve in all those billing areas by just being a little more aggressive.
I think council also needs to remember now that we are servicing people outside the town, but we are serving the people inside the town too. Now, it sounds like I'm talking two ways, but I don't feel that since I'm not going to be here next year, that I have the right to say one way or the other. But I think the people in town are getting better service now than they've ever gotten.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Cindy's done a great job. I mean, there's no question. I think you've turned this thing around, and Jack, appreciate all you've done to help that as well. Just hate that our town tax money is going to the county.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agreement for the EMS with the county?
I move that we do that and continue to monitor the situation and hope that we can see that number grow.
I'll second that.
And got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the Little Recycling Program Grant Award.
Yeah, Mayor Cancel, each year Flora Sankford looks for methods to improve the town tavern. Then again, she hits a home run with another grant. And what we're gonna do this year is, I guess it's been probably, I don't know, year before, year after I came on, we replaced the dumpsters on the trash cans on Main Street. The complication with those is to keep them where the guys can use them, they blow away, and to keep them where they'll stay in place are too heavy, and then the lids are plastic. But Flora has a desire to replace them for cosmetic reasons, and Florida don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm listening to it.
So she's gonna proceed forward with that this year, so hopefully we'll be able to improve the bling bling on Main Street. Congratulations, Flora.
Thank you. Next is approval of the wastewater treatment plant upgrade advertisement.
Okay, maybe I should have reworded that a little different, but what we have to do is, you're not approving to do an upgrade. I'm gonna take my jacket off, it's getting a little hot in here. But what you are approving to do, I have to meet Virginia procurement, either way we go. We have to say that we're gonna work with this engineering firm, this architectural firm, whoever it may be. I have to meet Virginia procurement, and Virginia procurement requires us to do professional interviews on any professional service. So engineering for the sewer treatment plant falls into that category. I want to back up just a little bit and remind you that T&L and David Dawson have been working with us from the beginning on grants that they went out and sought. So when we do this professional procurement, you're obviously going to get engineering firms in here that are nowhere near as knowledgeable of what's going on. They're nowhere near as educated with the sewer plant. And to be frankly honest, they probably are not going to score anywhere near as high as Thompson and Litton. It's just the nature of the group. There's no way to get around it. This is just an ad, and I'm asking for council's approval to run to get offers. It's an RFP, RFQ, ever how you want to look at that. And we will do professional procurement on it. Obviously, your next council will have control over that. But it's not, you're not spending any money. You're not recommending to do a $15 million upgrade. Not raising any fees, it's just so we can meet Virginia procurement.
When's the SOQ supposed to be in?
I think we have 14 days. We have to run it at least 2 weeks, and so much time prior to the next upcoming council meeting, to be specific, we haven't figured that out yet, when we're gonna run. I just need approval from council to run it, and we'll set the dates and stuff.
I make a motion that we give the town manager approval to run the
I'll second.
So your motion and a second, any other discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And next on the agenda is the approval of demolition request on 1151 Market Street. Mr. Hurley.
This house is one of three I've got in my sights for the next few months. As you know, our code requires a 30-day period after I send out a certified letter to the homeowner. We have been given 60 days. And at the last Monday council meeting, everybody voted unanimously to start the process and me sending a letter to the homeowner. And you can see on page 88 and 89, you got two pictures of it, shows the front and the back. This is on Market Street, right before you get to 4 lanes on the left.
That looks like Cody Payne fixed it.
All it needs a vote to proceed to start the process of,
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, any other discussion?
Yeah, Chris, I'm going to ask one thing that I mentioned to you in our meeting last week. We need to know if the man had any insurance.
yeah, I can,
And the reason we do is the insurance company will pay for cleanup on that lot.
right.
So rather than us having to go and put a lien on his property, maybe we could get our money up front.
All you're voting on is we need to start the process.
Yeah, I know, but I want to mention that to you.
Yeah,
I don't know whether I'll see you again or not.
right.
Okay, got a motion and a second, any other discussion? Not call for a vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next on is set the public hearing for Commercial Center and Development Overlay District Ordinance.
Mr. Hurley had asked me this morning if I would kind of give a background of how this started, but we've got several districts in town that, in my opinion, and obviously the planning commission's opinion, need to be utilized for the best interest of the citizens and the shoppers in and around the area. And I'll use a few examples. I personally don't think that Main Street is an area for a mechanical garage. All right, and Planning Commission has reviewed all of our shopping areas. Well, right now, and I'm not picking on garages, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that, I know I am, but there's a lot of uses that are not in the best interest of shopping centers. They're just not, but they still fall under B1, 2, and M districts. So I had an incident recently that didn't settle very well, and creating an overlay, which a majority of localities have. And what it'll do is it'll give the Planning Commission and the Town Council a final approval of businesses in those areas. So I think obviously, I say obviously, it's obvious to me that it's in the best interest that we look at a program to protect those shopping districts that we have, to retain our commercial and business background to the best of our interest. So, Chris, I'll let you pick up from there and add anything to it you like.
The maps on page 92 and 93, most of them is the B2 neighborhoods. And I got the red hash marks on the map that would be part of the overlay district. The planning commission voted on, picked all these areas, agreed on. They noticed there's a lot. There's only 3 maps, but it covers the whole town. There's not much down on Fairground. There's only one section on the other side of 4 lanes that's commercial. And there's nothing there now but farmland, so.
Some people may ask, what's the difference in that and what we have right now? What we have right now, you have zoning by right. So I can continue with that. So if you have a business that fits in a zoning, an individual applies for a zoning permit, we can't stop that establishment from coming in. It's not about dictating or being selective with our businesses. It's about controlled growth. It's about controlled growth, which is what we want inside of all towns and cities, is controlled growth. So zoning is very important, but at any time, you can have a business move in, such as the example I gave. There's areas in town for that, and we're not restricting every area. We do need those garages, Leanne, be sure you put that in there. We do need those in town. Cantor's got any questions? I've said enough.
Okay, let me ask you a question. All right, I'm going to use an example right across from Mr. Murray's house, okay? We zoned that many years ago. And it
We
was
zoned it with some restrictions.
That's
That's right what we're doing right here.
Yeah, okay, so, and that is in, let me see the map here.
That is actually B1.
Yeah.
Which map is that on?
It's on the
Second one,
93,
yeah. Okay,
the southeast map.
all right. But then also within that piece of property, on the Bimbo side, or the Freedom Avenue
Right.
side, that was a B1, I think. One of them's B2, isn't it?
The Bimbo, the Freedom side's a B2, I believe, and then the
Okay.
lot in front of Jack is a B1.
Okay, so the B1, will just even though it's got a restriction, it would not be,
B2 is a little looser with restrictions right now. That's why the overlays just on it.
right? I'm just trying to make sure I get clarified.
Yeah. You notice none of the M1 or B1 is actually hatched
Right,
because they got enough restrictions there in place already.
yeah,
And make sure that people understand that when that property was zoned, I wasn't on the council, and it wasn't.
well, the reason being, the guy called me the other day that owns part of that piece of property, and he was asking me that question, and I just had to have the zoning back.
Right.
And part of it was B1, and the other part was B2 before we went to this.
Yeah, no, brother-in-law and sister or vice versa,
Yes,
own those
yes,
two pieces
right.
of property.
Yeah, they're trying to get divided up, so. Yeah.
They've already divided it up. One person cuts one half of it, and the other person cuts the other.
But there's three of them. There's three pieces of this. All right.
I think the key thing to understand, it is an overlay, just like your historic district is an overlay. You have an existing zoning, like in here, right here in this part of town. Then there's also, since some of these properties are B1, some of them are R1,
Right.
but there's an overlay over that for the historic district. It's the same thing with this business commercial center developmental district overlay. It's the same type of application. You're going to have different restrictions that are put over top of existing restrictions that are already there.
We did default to the existing zoning for setbacks, so we didn't change that.
You want to have a public hearing in December or January?
Whatever, however you, well, we can't do December. That's not going to fair. We got notifications to send it out, we got August. It's going to cost some significant money, but I think the future value of it's pricey.
I'll make a motion that the town proceed with this.
It'll probably be February.
Okay.
We got a lot of them to send out, a bunch of them.
I got a motion. Have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda is approval of the holiday time.
Yeah, each year, since I've been here anyway, we asked council to consider removing half days, and the personnel policy has a half day, November 21st, all day, 22nd, 23rd. We're asking for the 21st full day, obviously 22nd, 23rd. Same thing with Christmas, half a day, December 24th, and all day on the 25th. We're asking for all day on the 24th and the 25th. And the reason, Councilman Brown, I bring it up because I think it's an opportunity for you guys to recognize the accomplishments there. I know it's coming too.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion. Approve.
My only comment would be is that, since he said that, is that I said, why don't we just make this annual and not have to do it so that they always get this time off, so that they know they have it coming, and don't have to wait till a month before.
Okay,
I thought we did this every year.
all I need, Mayor, if you want to vote on that, and we'll add it to the personnel.
Maybe they want to go out of town and they're trying to make plans and.
Well, usually I do this in October, but
We have a motion and a second right now, so any other discussion?
Make me as the Grinch.
Can we amend the motion?
If we're gonna do the personnel thing, we'll just vote on this and then we can add it.
Okay.
Okay.
Fail and vote on different motion.
Yes, all right. Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Then I call for a vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now, if you want to add it to the personnel thing, we can, but
we'll bring it up.
later.
I think we ought to make a motion that we leave it up to the manager each year to determine what his people need to be off. You're the one that works with them.
You don't want me to give them the time they deserve.
No, Jack.
We'll let the next council
Give them.
decide on that.
Yeah, we'll bring it up with the next council, let them proceed.
All right. A request for the old junior high use.
Okay, if you'll recall, last year, if I'm not mistaken, I think the council allowed our youth rec ball to utilize the gymnasium, and I think it was $1,000 worth of use. I don't have my cell phone. Okay, well, I don't have $1,000 worth of use, but I was talking to Amy Patterson today via text, and she is doing and planning a lot of volunteer stuff, a bunch, and it's really impressive of the new program that we got. And what I want to do with some of the stuff that Ms. Patterson is doing is actually have the media there. I think it would be incredible to have the media there showing these young children volunteering at the nursery homes or cleaning up the community to earn gym time. And just to refresh your memory, the gym time is 4 to 1.
Is the people that volunteered for the serve at the dinner Sunday, did they utilize that?
Well, nobody requested it, but they may come up and we can try.
I actually told somebody.
They are going to use that for community service.
good.
Volunteering.
They should.
Okay, well, that's good, that's good. So, but having that out there and letting the people know during those dinners or during those events that they're volunteering to earn gym time. And, the reason the fees are there on the gym is because I couldn't afford to keep replacing stuff that was being torn up. So having skin in the game to some degree, I felt was very, very important to maintain the use of the gym without putting a security guard up there. So I'm really pleased with what Amy's wanting to do, but I would request council's consideration to allow my staff and I to utilize up to $1,000 for not only basketball, because last year it was some soccer, but just a combination, but up to $1,000 for gym time. Obviously, the volunteer program will speak for itself.
I make a motion that we do that.
I'll second that motion.
That's a good thing for the youth.
Great thing. For the youth.
You guys got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next on the agenda is to set the date for the special call meeting, December 18th.
Let's skip one.
Let me give you one more.
Okay, travel. I thought it was the same one.
I had an opportunity over the last couple of days to go to Richland and actually watch my daughter and her teammates win the championship, by the way. But anyway, but watch them utilize a facility that had 2 gymnasiums in it. And
A nice facility.
I don't need to tell you how passionate I am about gymnasiums, unless you want to ask a few questions, we'll talk about it. Anyway, I think the future for Tazewell and the direction that we're going is going to be incredible. But with that being said, Coach Pridge is trying to put together a tournament here in the town of Tazewell. And I don't know the number of schools that are going to be involved, whether it's local or whether it'll include Twin Valley. I don't know, but I do know that if we can have that in the town of Tazewell, the economy that it will bring to our local businesses could be extremely valuable. So I would request, I'll go as far as ask for unanimous support to allow that event to take place here in the town of Tazewell. And I'd also ask that you waive the fees for that gym due to the obvious ROI.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion, can I say? I think that's great, but just, I would have you all, suggest you all try to go through maybe the school board to get, like the middle school or something, to have a full-size gym.
We're using the middle school and the high school.
Okay. You don't need the old junior high?
Yes.
Okay.
This goes for the old junior high only.
Okay.
But they will be using.
All 3.
Yes.
Okay.
The event's going to utilize all of it.
Yes. Yes. And it's not uncommon, by the way. Most of the time, the travel ball will end up in the community, maybe bouncing between 4 different facilities. And eating and spending money and shopping. So I think it's amazing. Good opportunity. It's good that the school system is working together.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Call for a vote, all in favor say aye. Motion carried. Next is set the date for a special call meeting.
I've got a special call meeting scheduled on December the 18th, and I've talked to our new upcoming mayor, and the 18th, I've also talked to Ms. Combs, and the 18th suits, I've also talked to Chris, and Terry. Those dates seem to fit all of our incumbents and also all of our newly elected individuals coming in. But the special call meeting will obviously, you'll be sworn in so that you're able to take office at midnight on January the 1st. There will also be, in the first canceled meeting in January, the appointments, obviously, your clerk, your town manager, your fire chief, just on down the line, planning commission, cancel meeting members. So if you can make it, there's not going to be a vote take place. But obviously, if you can make it December the 18th, the rest of it would be good if you can show.
What time?
I think we've got that set for.
You told me 7:30.
I think it's 7:30, yeah. I got too many dates and times running through my head, so.
7:30 a.m. or p.m.?
That's not a,
Well,
that's a good question, Jim.
well, I thought all that.
Yeah, we've had them early, so.
So instead of adjourning, you just carry on for the next.
Yeah, we could recess the meeting or, yeah, either way. But I just want to let it publicly know, December 18th, put it on the calendar and swear you in. That's all I have. That's the only one we've got.
At this time, we have public comment. Anyone who wishes to speak, need to sign in, state your name, address, and limit your presentation to 3 minutes. Stanley Stevenson.
Come up there.
You can stand right there if you want to.
My name's Stanley Stevenson. I live at 379 Lyons Avenue, and I have a dilemma with a drain that went into the town branch in the last flood we had. Years ago, Jack Harry put a culvert in there, and my drain from my basement laundry sink went into it. So now when it floods, it pushes all the water back up into my basement. In the last flood, I had about 1 foot or 2 foot of water in my basement, old muddy water. So I went to Todd Day and asked and told him about it, and he said, don't tell anybody. And I said, why? He said, the EPA will get on us and fine us because we're running gray water into the creek. And he said, I'll fix it for you. I waited for a few weeks, went to see him again. He said, I'm gonna take care of it. So the next day he sent the new Director of Public Works, Mr. Schrader, down there, and he said, we might have to charge you a sewer hookup. I said, well, whatever. I said, it should be under grandfather. He said, that don't work anymore. So he said, I'm 30 days, I'm coming back, and we're gonna cap off the drain that goes into the town branch. And so I figured when they dug up the line that I could, if I had to do it myself, he said they couldn't put gray water into the town sewer, but I could. So I was going to put it in myself, so when they come and dug it up, they capped off the drain to this creek, and then he said he was going to cap off my drain coming out of my basement. And I said, well, no, don't do that. Let me fix it, and where the hole is. And he said, no, we're going to have to cover it up. It's a hazard. I said, I can put a piece of plywood on over it and put a yellow tape around it until I can run the sewer into the, run the drain into the sewer. He said, no, we're going to do it today. So the two guys that were doing it, they said, I said, well, give me 30 minutes. I go to the Farm Bureau and get some elbows and stuff and run a pipe up, and then later on I can do it. So they said, no, we got to do it. So they said, call Mr. Schrader. So I did. He said, I'll give you 30 minutes. So I went to Farm Bureau and got the stuff so that the thing comes out so that I can do it at a later date. But now it's going to cost me $400 to $500 to have somebody in a backhoe to come and dig up the same hole that they covered up to do the sewer system. But Todd Day told me twice that he would take care of it. Yeah, they took care of it all right. They blocked me off, and now I have no drain in my basement and my laundry sink that we use all the time. That's it. And David Fox, I told him, and he told me to come up here and tell the council about it, But I don't mean to bother you with this little matter.
We'll investigate.
And I thank you for your time.
Okay.
Hey, you going further? Stanley met me on the street and advised me of this issue, and I advised him to, come on up. And I tried to get a hold of you, but I couldn't get a hold of you because I was in Richlands area working. But looking at the system here, it's really close to the sidewalk. I don't know if it's on town line or what.
It's all on the town line.
Okay.
So where they dug in the whole property where the line is on the town. Mr. Schrader told me that half of my front yard belonged to the town. So where they dug and what's left is on the town. So if I come in, I'll have to be digging on the town property.
I think it should be fixed.
Well, we'll take a look at it. Mr. Stevenson, he's exactly right. The EPA knows about it now, though.
Yeah.
But he actually stopped by the house, in front of my house, and I told him that he's been patient, and that we take a look at it and get on it as soon as we could. And to the best of my knowledge, Gary did go out there. I didn't go. I don't know what the situation found was, but that's the first I've heard about it since it went out. Didn't even know.
Yeah. Well, if they left the hole, I could have done it, but now it's filled back up, so now I have to hire a backhoe to get it back dug it back
We'll take
up.
a look at it. That's my job. That's what I do. I didn't know. I hadn't heard from him since then.
Well, every time I come up here, he wasn't here. He was
I don't-
on the phone, and then I come up here one
I
day.
don't see any reason why we couldn't open the hole up so we could do it. If it's on town property.
We'll take a look at it. We'll do the right thing.
Okay.
If not,
Just look into it.
Okay.
yeah.
I'm not
I'm
only-
on the way,
That's not the only drain that runs into that town branch. whenever there's laundry day for people, there's soap and stuff that comes down the creek. Where it comes from, I don't know, but there's a lot of people's gray water still running into the
Well,
creek.
I can tell you from past experience that if you've got gray water running into the town storm water system, the EPA does not like it. So I did the best I could do to try to help you by telling you that, and I'd still tell anybody that. Don't get, you know, that's a homeowner's responsibility, it's not the town. But we will look at what you got and we'll see if it's on town property, we'll take care of it.
Okay.
Anything else, brought before council before we make a motion to go to executive session? Okay, I entertain a motion for executive session for real property and personnel matters. Do I have a motion for that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.